We are being hypnotized by people like this. Newsreaders, politicians, teachers, lecturers. We are in a country and in a world that is being run by unbelievably sick people. The chasm between what we're told is going on and what is really going on is absolutely enormous.
Oh yeah, dude. There's some Nephilim shit.
It's like we all know what's going down, but no one's saying shit what happened to the home of the brave. These motherfuckers taking control of us now, and no one's talking about how they made us fight to be slaves. And everybody's just walking around, head in the clouds, and won't awaken to a dead in the grave. But then it's too late, we need to be ready to raise up. Welcome to the end of days. Everybody is slaves, only some are aware that the government releasing poison.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Nephilim Death Squad. I am your host, David Lee Corbo, along with Top Lobsta. I want to say Merry Christmas to everyone. And before we get into today's guest, I'd like to remind everyone that YouTube actually took down our previous episode. And so if you want to support the show, move on over to Rumble because they're censoring us and we don't want anything to do with them. We're gradually moving away from YouTube. So if you're watching now, head over to Rumble. Today, we are joined by someone who I'm incredibly excited to speak with because I feel as though this man helped to sort of he's part of the bedrock for guys like me and Top, people that have recently entered this space, talking about things like the Nephilim, looking at conspiracy and the supernatural through the biblical lens. Mr. L.A. Marzulli is one of the guys who is, I would say, a fundamental component to shifting the narrative and bringing this conversation to gradually more and more eyes. And like I said, is fundamental to the bedrock of guys like me and Top. Mr. Marzulli, it's a pleasure to be here with you. Before we get started, could you let everyone know a little bit about what it is that you do and where they can find your work?
Yeah, great. Thanks for having me on, guys. Appreciate it. I'm an author, filmmaker. I penned 13 books. I'm working on number 14. There are 30 films in our library that I've either hosted, directed, co-directed, co-produced, edited, whatever. So my new business partner, because Richard Shaw, we did 11 films together before Richard passed away. Gil Zimmerman worked 30 years between DreamWorks and Disney. So the fact that he and I have teamed up together is fantastic. We did 6 films together this year, all on the UFO phenomena. But it all hails back into the Nephilim and the Genesis 3:15 narrative. So, I mean, I lecture at conferences and churches, and I do countless interviews like this and podcasts. The bottom line for your listeners, there's a corpus of work here. There's 13 books and 30 films. So, I mean, where do you begin, really? And we have an hour together. So we're going to scratch the surface and hopefully whet people's appetites.
Yeah, so I was telling you in the pre-chat, where do we begin? The people listening, they should know already. If they don't know, I guess they're just watching us on mute. They should kind of know what this is all about. But one of the things that you've been hitting very hard, and I think your latest documentary is going to be on, deals with UFOs. So, I mean, people say, well, not necessarily the Nephilim stuff and the giants. You're talking more about like UFOs, and especially with government disclosure being sort of right around the corner, it's a timely subject. And what you've been saying about this has been quite disturbing, but enlightening. And from your episode with Tony Merkel, a lot of people came away black-pilled maybe, or you sounded a little black-pilled, which means kind of like not too optimistic about the future. But I just kept screaming at the phone while listening. It was like, yeah, but we know how the story ends. Yeah, but we know how it ends. You know, it looks pretty bad, but please guide us through this. I'm interested.
You know, there's actually going to be 10 films in the UFO series. My edit booth is like 6 feet away over there, and I'm looking at number 9, which is called What is the Truth? You got to remember, let me just set the groundwork, that we've got ancient biblical texts that are thousands of years old, some of them a little over 2,000, some of them around 2,000 years old. They're there. And they're written a priori. I mean, people go, well, you can't trust the Bible because blah, 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 blah. The translations and everything. See, I mean, it's nonsense. It's just, they're parroting something that they heard from some idiot who has no idea of what the biblical prophetic narrative is and how the corpus, the body of work, the 66 books that comprise the Bible, nothing's really changed. I mean, we've got ancient texts, ancient manuscript. We got the Dead Sea Scrolls. I mean, people need to wake up and stop parroting what they heard. Everything was changed in the Council of Nicaea. It's just nonsense. It's total nonsense. So let's deal with what we have. And we can go back. I mean, I had a Bible here before the fire that went back into the 19th century. So it's before the Industrial Revolution, before any of this, before anyone's looking at what we're looking at now. I have on my wall a page from a 1666 King James Bible. It's Revelation 19, which is my wheelhouse. Behold, I saw heaven standing open there before me was a white horse whose rider was faithful and true. I mean, it's on my wall. And, there it is. It's like, it's like almost 400 years old, for crying out loud. And there it is. Hello. So we know that Jesus warns us. It'll be like the days of Noah when he returns. So immediately, I mean, see, if your listeners don't know that, if they're not familiar with that, then, I mean, we got to go down to the basics, because if you don't know that, if you don't know that Jesus is warning us, giving us a supernatural clue 2,000 years ago, that it's going to be like the days of Noah when he returns. Okay, so what does that mean? When Jesus warns us and says that and points back to that scripture, there is no New Testament. That hasn't been written yet. So he's looking backwards and going, it'll be like the days of Noah, which immediately begs the question, what differentiates the days of Noah from any other time in history? And it's basically the signature, the rockets coming up, and highlighting everything, and rockets and lights and all sorts of good stuff, right? What we're looking at is the presence of the Nephilim on the earth.
Absolutely.
That Noah with the flood, people go, well, why did God do that? And I asked the same question 44 years ago. I'm old enough to be your father, for crying out. So anyway, yeah, I'm 73. So I mean, hi guys, how are you? So
you're actually older than my dad, but yeah.
No, that's my point. I'm older than if I could be a grandfather. So, but the bottom line is this, guys, that when the flood of Noah happens, there's not like billions of people on the earth. There's this little central core people in and around the Levant that we know about. And the flood happens. Every single culture on the planet has a flood story. So when you read that, you go, well, why does God destroy the entire earth with a flood? This sounds really, and it's wacky. I get it. But this goes back to Genesis 3:15. And unless we understand the Genesis 3:15 narrative and what it says, and I've been saying this over and over and over again, Genesis 3:15 is the gateway. If we don't understand Genesis 3:15, then when we pick this book up, we don't know what's going on. And when we come into the present day with the whole UFO phenomenon, we're kind of going like, now what? Genesis 3:15, Adam and Eve are over here. The dragon is over here. The pre-incarnate Christ. I love when it does this. The pre-incarnate. Don't ask me why it does it. I turn it off. I have no idea.
It's fantastic.
I do this sometimes. Yeah, there it goes. This is what I get. How does that work?
It's Nephilim. That's Nephilim stuff, man. Don't worry about that. I actually like that.
I have no idea how, if I put 2 thumbs up, this wasn't planned. We've been trying to turn it off, but we don't know how.
That's kind of amazing.
Mr. Marzulli, I was scared coming into this interview because I said I want to interview L.A. Marzulli, but I don't want to do it like everybody else has, because I've heard you, and I feel like and we got fireworks and balloons, so we're already set. Whatever happens after, I don't.
How come mine doesn't do that?
Yeah, see, I mean, look, it's like and then it doesn't do anything.
There you go.
I don't know, guys. I don't know. It's weird. Goes to the machine. Who knows? So
possibly.
Genesis 3:15. You've got Adam and Eve over here. You've got the dragon over there. You got the pre-incarnate Christ, and Jesus tells the dragon, "Your seed, your offspring, will be at war, at enmity with the offspring of the woman." We know the one coming from the woman is the proto-evangelium, which is the Messiah. That's the gateway to the Bible, and we know that the Messiah is going to crush the dragon's head. This whole thing, Genesis 3:15. This is it. If we don't understand it, then we might as well, when we get to all these other passages in the Bible, we're clueless. And then when we get to Daniel chapter 2, verse 43. And Daniel says, the angel, the messenger. And when I say angel, immediately go, people have this preconceived notion of angels. Think the Incredible Hulk, but he's a good guy, right? That can squash you like a puny human that you are. That's, right? But the Hulk's a good guy. He's not some, but that's what a good guy, a good angel, which just means messenger. These guys are incredibly powerful. And this angel tells Daniel, seal up the words in the book till the time of the end. Men will run to and fro over the face of the earth, knowledge will increase. We're here. This is it.
Let me tell you, I'll tell you how much we are here. Over the weekend, we spoke to an audience of like 200,000 people. We broke this guy Luke Rudkowski's show. We broke his live listener record on Rumble, and we were just talking about Genesis 6. I had mentioned that exact line where things will be as in the days of Noah. And it is interesting. I'm not saying that we're interesting and we're this or that, but people are in tune to this subject now more than ever. It's a political show. And everything he said, we're like, listen, no.
This is my wheelhouse, guys. I've been doing this since probably before both of you were born. I mean, seriously,
yes.
which is
one of the things that we spoke about, Mr. Marzulli, on that episode, just to give you an idea of where our heads are, is we brought to attention this idea that the alien thing is a rebranding of something that you're describing here, which is much more ancient and much more nefarious and much more intrinsically tied to the Bible and to our history as a human species. And instead, we're getting this rebranding, this sterilized thing, these beings from another planet that, one, don't want us to destroy ourselves and don't want us to destroy our own planet, which is to rebrand them as these benign beings.
At the same time, a concerted effort to undermine the Bible and everything about Christ or Christians.
Exactly. Yeah. I like you guys. I'd have to come back here.
I can die happy. This is great.
Stop the show.
No, this is great. No, I like you guys. So because I didn't know you. I mean, I went on the line and he looked up Top Lobsta and
Oh God, what you saw. I'm sorry.
I'm kind of going like, who are these guys? So I was a little trepidatious, if I can use that word. But now I feel like, it's like, okay, we're having some fun here. So in the Daniel chapter 2, verse 43, you get this really enigmatic piece of scripture. It basically says, seal up the words and all this other stuff. But it says, their seed will mingle with the seed of men, but they will not cleave to them. So whose seed are we talking about? Their seed will mingle with the seed of men, but they will not cleave to them. This is a prophecy, in my opinion, about the abduction phenomena. And if we don't understand Genesis 3:15 and the mingling of the seed, when we get to Daniel 2, we go, I have no idea what that means. But once we plug in the Genesis 3:15 narrative, it becomes very plain. Mingling of the seed, mingling of the offspring. And so what we're getting, their seed will mingle with the seed of men. Well, it's not mankind. So who the heck is it? It only leaves one people, one people group, and that's the fallen guys. They are creating hybrids. This is the fourth film in our UFO series on abductions. We also published a book by Karen Wilkinson, Stolen Seed, Evil Harvest. She was an abductee from the time she was 6 years old. She actually learned to fly the craft, and she's the second person that's told me this. The other person's not a Christian, not born again, not spirit-filled. She's still being taken. And she's got Stockholm Syndrome, in my opinion, to the absolute nines. She's sided with her captors, essentially. Karen got out of it. Karen got born again, spirit-filled, stopped the abductions, but she had 3 children by them. And in the first month, or the first trimester, the third month of the first trimester, okay, she was re-abducted, and they take the fetus out. They take the hybrid baby out of her. In our film on counter mutilations, which is number 6. So 4 is abductions, 5 is crop circles, 6 is counter mutilations. We get into, it's the darkest film I've ever worked on. And what we do is we show, and I think, I could be wrong, so far no one's publicly corrected me. We may be the first ufologists to actually put all that together, that the counter mutilation, look at this. This is cow's blood, bovine blood. You can use it in human transfusions, okay? You can use cow blood at human transfusion. Counter mutilation, farmer walks out in his field, There's a cow. It's been mutilated. No footprints. No coyotes. The other herds moved as far away as possible. Coyotes won't get near it. Buzzards won't get near it. There's no blood. The animal is completely drained of blood. Udders are taken. Eyes are taken. Tongues are taken. All with surgical precision. The farmer looks at it and goes, what am I looking at? The veterinarian comes. He's never seen anything like it. Law enforcement comes. He has no explanation. There's no footprints. Even after a rain, no footprints. It's like, somebody is taking this stuff and doing it. We, in our film on cattle mutilations, we connect the abduction phenomena with the cattle mutilation phenomena because this has been going on for decades. So bovine blood can be used in human transfusions. So the entities reabduct Karen or whoever in the 3rd month of her pregnancy. They take the baby from the womb. They have created an artificial womb using the parts of the cow and using the blood and using the tissue. They have created an artificial womb. Out comes the baby from the earthly mother into the artificial womb. And then 6-8 months later, whatever it is, now you've got a hybrid. You essentially have a modern day Nephilim. Because that's
let me ask you a question. When the Watchers of the Fallen come down and they take the daughters of men as wives, how do they procreate? Because I'm under the assumption that angels can't create. And what does that mean to you?
I get asked that a lot. See, we have a truncated view of the supernatural, and they don't tell this stuff in church for the most part. So you got to do some deep digging. But let me just throw this at you. So when Abraham is hanging out and he sees these 3 guys coming at him, and he realizes, whoa, these aren't normal human beings. What does he do? Kill the fatted lamb, and he serves them food. What did they all do? They all eat. And then the 2 angels go into Sodom and Gomorrah. And the men of the city want to have what with them? They want to have sex with them.
Yeah.
And Lot comes out and offers the 2 virgin daughters. They're not interested in that. They want the men. They want the angels. They want the power. They want to do the whole Genesis 6 mingling of the seed. They want that. And that's why the destruction comes down. So
can you do that? Can they do that with other men? Because in that story, like you assume they're like, oh, those angels, give us the angels. I assume that those are men calling for these angels, and the angels are male as well, or what?
Absolutely.
Wow, how does that work? That's wild.
Well, that's the sin of homosexuality on some level, right?
Wow.
Because if I say that on YouTube, we're immediately disbanded.
Who cares? Go for it, man. This place is horrible.
No free speech for you. It's unbelievable. Where are we? What is this? We live in a fascist country, but I digress. So, yeah, I mean, start goose stepping around the mailbox now. It's unbelievable where we are. And, we're on Rumble too. I play the game on YouTube. I mean, I do because we got like 200,000 subscribers. I don't want to lose that income and everything else. So we kind of play the game. We're kind of coy, but we do other stuff where we let everything out, like on this show. So the bottom line is, women are abducted, men are abducted, sperm is taken from the men, ovum is taken from the women. Satan's breeding an army. I asked the late Chuck Missler years ago, Chuck, what about the abduction phenomena? Chuck goes, oh, Satan's outnumbered 2-1. He's building an army without any hesitation on his part. I mean, he didn't have to think about it. Because like me, he's been in this forever and he knows he's biblically grounded in what the Bible says. And this whole war, cosmic war, in which we find ourselves in. So, we have 9 films on the series. We just released Roswell 1 and Roswell 2. Roswell Revisited Exoneration. In that film, we go out of our way to show that Jesse Marcel Sr. was a fall guy. He was a patsy, just like Lee Harvey Oswald.
Yeah. Goes the YouTube stream. It's done.
I'm sorry, the lone gunman. Oh, I should have known. Of course it was Lee Harvey Oswald. Everybody knows that. And did you see have you guys seen the autopsy film?
No.
You got to watch the Parkland doctors. This just came out.
What's it called?
It's JFK, the autopsy, Parkland doctors, Parkland Hospital. You got to watch that because these guys, they kept it. They filmed it like 10 years ago, but they didn't release it. It's too explosive but they released it now. And nobody cares anyway. So the Parkland dockers are sitting here. This is a rabbit trail, right? I'm sorry, guys. I got to 2 thumbs up again. So
I love it.
here we go. Here we go. So the Parkland dockers are coming on the record saying, like, excuse me, what we saw in Dallas is not what the autopsy records show at the Bethesda Naval Hospital. 2 completely different things. These, either the body was manipulated or the photos manipulated. They don't know which. They're saying that Kennedy was hit in the right temple right here and blew out the back of his brain. That's like, how's Lee Harvey Oswald going to do that? He can't. And I've been to the grassy knoll. I'll never forget it the first time I was there. And you stand behind the picket fence, which is still there. They've kept everything exactly the way it was in 63, exactly the same way. And you pretend you've got a rifle and you just peer out over the picket fence. And the headshot is less than 60 feet away. It's a turkey shoot. It's a flipping turkey shoot. And so the autopsy film, all these Parkland doctors, and they show where they were standing. They all looked at him. They all say the same thing: hit here, hit here, hit here. And then the autopsy in Bethesda, oh, wait, there is no wound in the back of a skull, but it looks like it's been doctored. Somebody's been stitching things up. I mean, it's unbelievable. You guys got to check that out. Okay, so I digress.
But no, before you go past it, I mean, I've heard some things of like JFK and also aliens at the time, or UFOs. Like, does this tie in at all? Because when we talk about why he was killed, we can talk about Mossad, you can talk about the mob, you can talk about the CIA, George H.W. Bush, all these things. But that also does come into play, and it's super important now. So I don't know. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, Roswell changed everything. Roswell created the secret government, essentially, which is the shadow government, which is what we have, in my opinion. And, we'll probably get knocks on all of our doors at 2:00 in the morning because of what we're saying. But, other people have stated the same thing. In our films on Roswell, Exonerated, circling back, that Jesse Marcel Sr. was a patsy. He was a fall guy. He's out there in 47. Mac Brazel calls in, something's crashed on my field. I've been to the debris field in July. We were at the debris field, late June, early July. And I'll get to that in a minute. So Marcel Sr. goes out, he picks up this wreckage, he brings it back, and on the way to the base, he stops by his home because his home is like a block away, 2 blocks away from the actual base. So it's a no-brainer. He wakes up his wife, wakes up his son, Jesse Marcel Jr., lays all the stuff out on a table and says, look at this. You'll probably never see it again. This is not from this world. And they all handle it. And so we interviewed Jesse Marcel Jr. It's a written interview, which we reenacted. I got that just before he passed away, Jesse Marcel Jr., this years ago. But we also interviewed Linda Marcel, his widow, first time ever she's been on film. Denise Marcel, his daughter. We interviewed Dr. Richard O'Connor, one of his best friends. And that's why we call the film Exonerated, because we show, in my opinion, we've had a lot of people, weigh in on it and tell us, wow, this film really is over the top as far as like exoneration. You guys have really shown that he was a fall guy. It was a setup. So going into the shadow government with Kennedy in 47, they had a chance, and they got it right. I mean, they absolutely got it right. The very first time, and I keep this right here on my desk. There it is. There's the headlines. Okay, right there. Captures flying saucer on a ranch. That's the truth. They got it right the first time. But then General Ramey goes, Ramey says, excitement not justified. Dun, dun, dun. And so at that point, we had, and Kennedy knew about this. Eisenhower warned him, the military-industrial complex. I was threatened by a guy from a deep state for our film on the Kandahar Giant. He met me in Dallas. I had a bodyguard with me. The guy from a deep state was packing. My bodyguard was packing. We met in the lobby of a very crowded hotel. Could they have taken me out? If they want to take you out, you're dead anyway. I mean, there's nothing you can do. I mean, you're toast. And he threatened me 3 different ways. And I've said this before. I'll say it again. He said, LA, what kind of cell phone? I go, I have an iPhone. He goes, is it encrypted? I go, no. He goes, well, when they come and arrest you, LA, they can find kiddie porn on it. Woo.
Wow.
Right? I don't even know this guy. I'm being threatened. Do you drive a car? I go, yeah, I drive at that time it was a 1991 SL 500, which I restored. It's an old Mercedes, but it's a great car. It's just really fun to drive. I call it my go-kart. So that burned in the fire. So now I've got a 2005 SL 500.
You know, this fire now is starting to make me a little suspicious.
Yeah,
What
I
was the
gonna
cause
say,
of the
it's starting to
fire?
be a little weird.
Right? Nothing to see here. Keep moving.
Oh, Jesus
Right?
Christ. Okay.
Yeah, Lord and Savior. So what happened was he goes, well, we can make your car do all sorts of things, and get you that way. Do you have any children? I go, yeah, I have 2 daughters. Well, one of them could go missing and never be found again. So I looked at him and I said, guy, I mean, I get it. You have all the cards. I'm a worm. You can crush me. Then I looked at him and I said, but you can't touch me unless the Most High God allows it. And he took a step back. He'd never heard that before. I say this because if I ever suicide, I didn't suicide, okay? With 2 shots to the head, right? It's just like,
Tied to a tree.
yeah,
Yeah,
tied to a
Terrence
tree. How
Hickey.
did he do that? Oh, don't worry about it. Just keep moving.
It's interesting when you say something about Jesus Christ to demons, right? They also do flinch. So you're describing this
Yeah.
encounter with a deep state agent that's like, in my opinion, these people are like, paperclip leftover Nazis from Operation
They are.
Paperclip
I
that
agree.
got into our government, continued whatever they were doing, and this government doesn't serve us, right? I mean, look
doesn't.
around. Yeah.
Well, interesting enough, Congressman Boucher, who is a standing member in Congress, with this whole UFO, trying to expose it and finding out. So Boucher and a couple of his Democratic colleagues went before the camera and the press and said, we can't even get to first base. They won't even tell us who to talk to. So this is the problem. And the American people are all asleep, for the most part. You guys aren't, but for the most part, the average Joe on the street, he's worried about paying his mortgage and putting food on the table. But we don't have a country. We don't have a government anymore.
Have you seen LA? Have you seen these things lately with Tucker Carlson? Right, this is like a really big thing that's happening right now. Tucker Carlson, he's coming out on all these various platforms. Him and Roseanne are discussing the Nephilim. He's talking about this really dark, secretive, spiritual aspect to this. These alien encounters. Also, the role that our government plays in all of this. And Top and I were recently on a show, like we had mentioned earlier, where we speculated that the darkness that he's hinting at is sort of this quid pro quo situation, or where the government is essentially giving a free pass to take and experiment on and have access to human beings for various perks, maybe technology, maybe information. What are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. There's no doubt in my mind that that's exactly what's going on. There was a quid pro quo, more than likely Holloman Air Force Base with Eisenhower, where they all met, they figured this thing out. We gave them access. It's right out of the book of Enoch, just like the days of Noah, right? They give us some primitive toys and we give them access to the women. That's in the days of Noah, right?
This is how we operate in the Middle East. We leave our surplus military gear in Afghanistan and bounce because we've got better stuff. It's wild.
It's like, what's going on is this is why he's got to return, because you can't fix this anymore. You just can't. It's beyond fixing. And 25 years ago, I wouldn't have said that. But now it's like, sorry, guys, we are looking at some global event, which we're real close to. And everything hinges around the nation of Israel, because all Latter-day prophecy hinges around the nation of Israel. That's just how that works. So there was a quid pro quo. That's when the abduction stuff really started to happen. Benny and Barney Hill were some of the first people to talk about it. But this is why our films, look, we have 9, there'll be 10 films when we're done. Right now, there's 8 of them that you can get. All right. And we're the only Christian ministry that's done a deep dive. Heck, we're the only people that actually, talk about this from both sides of the aisle. And we've done a deep dive. The movie, the cow mutilation film is unnerving. The abduction film is incredible. The crop circle film, just the whole film on crop circles. But then get this, guys, and this is what blew me away. The first Nephilim Mounds conference that we ever did, and it's the one where Gary Stearman stood up, and his title was he kicked off the conference. Gary Stearman from Prophecy Watchers stood up and said, the title of my message is It's All About the Seed. And Gary was the one that educated all of us to Genesis 3:15. I knew all about Genesis 6, but I hadn't tied it back to Genesis 3:15. And Gary just blew us all away. This is in Ohio, okay? About 2 to 3 weeks, a month before, in a field of standing corn that's 8 feet tall, there appeared the second largest crop circle in the history of the United States. It's huge. And right across from that crop circle, and it's just not a circle, it's dragon heads. So you've got circles within circles within circles, and you can't make circles in a field of corn 8 feet tall. You don't know what you're doing. I mean, and the corn isn't broken. The stalks aren't broken. They're bent.
Wow.
And right across the river, the creek, are the Nephilim mounds. Right there.
What do you think
across.
these things are? Because when I see a crop circle, you see a lot of geometry, and I know that. So I study.
So
I'm a musician.
Okay, so am I. So am I.
Okay, yeah.
Musician.
Yeah, so I'm big into like obviously frequency and the vibrations and things like that. And I know that like if you look into cymatics where you put sand on like a metal plate and vibrate it, it'll give you these different beautiful geometric shapes.
Right.
Anything to do with that? Like, what is this stuff?
I call it the secret language of the dragon. Mathematics. They are always, not always, but for a lot of the time, the crop circles are right next to ancient megalithic sites. And there's advanced geometry and trigonometry that's there. In our film, which will be released maybe in the first quarter, it'll be On the Trail of a Nephilim #9. We show something. It's my discovery, but I got there because of the work that Kelsey Stone did with America Stonehenge, which is #4 in the On the Trail of a Nephilim series. Guys, I mean, there's just way too much to talk about my understanding. But Kelsey Stone, I don't have it here. I'll have to draw it.
Kelsey, you know what this really is? This is us trying to excite you enough to get you back another time. That's what this is.
Thumbs up.
We'll have to, again, let's see what it does this time. Why does it do this?
I don't know.
Anyway, so Kelsey Stone is a 21-year-old college student, and he goes on Google Earth, and this has never been done before in the history of the world, okay? And he knows about his site. He knows about America Stonehenge because he's grown up there. And so he says to himself, gee, well, here's the center of my site, which will be an X. Here's the summer solstice standing stone, okay? What happens if I draw a line? Will it come to my house? And he goes, well, I guess it will. So he goes on, here's the center of America Stonehenge. That's the center. He goes out to the summer solstice standing stone. That's where the sun sets. So that's right, where am I? Right over here. Yeah, right there. Okay, there's the center, there's the summer solstice standing stone. So he checks it out, and it's pretty close to his house. Well, that's pretty cool. So he's on Google Earth, and he just extends the line. He's just goofing around. He's a 21-year-old college kid. We all know what that's like, right? Well, that's decades for me. But anyway, he keeps, and he's past Newfoundland, and he's over the Atlantic, and now he finds himself in Ireland, and now he's in southern England, and he goes, gee, I wonder how close I am to Stonehenge, England. And he zooms in and extends the line. That line bisects the trilithons at Stonehenge, England. And there's 2 of them. They're set like this. They're set at an angle. Like, I don't know if you can see that or not. They're set at like an angle. And that line comes in from thousands of miles away, dead center to those lentils, the top pieces of the trilithons. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Greetings.
Interesting.
And so what we're looking at is spherical geometry, spherical trigonometry.
It reminds me. I don't know if you follow Stephen King's work. He's kind of, I mean, he's a real douchebag these days, but he does know some occult stuff in his books if you read it. But it reminds me of
mouth. I may have to get that soap in it after we're done.
He's not a nice guy. I don't like him right now.
Keep it clean. Keep it clean.
Sorry. The Dark Tower, his in the book, all of these lines go to different points on the universe, and they do the same thing that you're describing, but it all generates from this one tower. And I'm like, you see it, it's kind of like, oh, it's sci-fi, but now that you're saying that, I'm like, is that actually happening? Like, what is going on?
In America Stonehenge, when we talk about this in number 4 and number 5 of On the Trail of a Nephilim series, and in number 5, the Axis Mundi, the center of the world, we show that from the center of that site to all those different standing stones all the way around the site at America Stonehenge, which is in New Hampshire, we show a connectivity to, drumroll please, Chaco Canyon, Teotihuacan, Mexico, Machu Picchu, Peru, the Canary Island pyramids, Stonehenge, England, and the Pyramid of Giza. So that's why we call it the Axis Mundi. So knowing that, when I was in an undisclosed location somewhere in Europe, we had 3 different sites, and we lined up those 3 different sites. And what we discovered blew our minds. And I can't wait to talk about it, but I'm not going to talk about it until we release the film, because we have a mathematician. There it is again. A mathematician at the collegiate level. We have Tim Wolf, who's a world-class surveyor. We've got archaeologists. We got a whole bevy of professionals looking at this going like, what we're looking at, and nobody knows about this yet. Okay, guys, no one knows about it. And, and when I finally, just like with America Stonehenge, people don't care, because it's like, don't you understand the significance of America Stonehenge? That there is a hidden history that's been deliberately obfuscated from the peoples of the world, and this is living proof of it right here. And you guys don't care? Are you that numb? I mean, are you just that numb to everything, to discovery? And that's why we go to these places, and we spend time there and we look. So we filmed in an undisclosed location in the Americas right here. We spent about 3 or 4 days on this particular site with a bunch of experts. And it was just, I can't wait till we release the film. So there you go.
Well, it's just to go back, we love talking about this guy, Jerry Marzinski, licensed psychotherapist. But yes, America is completely asleep, and it's done on purpose, because if people were receptive, if they're, lack of better words, their third eye was like malleable, their pineal gland, they would hear what you're saying, they would be alarmed, and then start reading the Bible, or at least searching somewhere. But we have most people on either antidepressants, like half the country on antidepressants, completely just Vikinging out asleep. And anyway, Jerry Marzinski thinks that schizophrenia, which is huge in this country too, he thinks that that's just actually literal entities. And he's got stories and other, 30 years in the field to prove this. So it's like, there's a concerted effort to stop this, not just stop the information from being out there, like they'll threaten you, but they actually have to now go out and blanket people's minds so that they're not interested in this. Like, here's a new reality show or whatever they're doing to keep you completely asleep. They've done a good job, but I don't know. I think
a perfect example is Fox News 20 years ago was a bastion of conservatism. Now it's like People Magazine. And then Time Magazine makes Taylor Swift the person of the year. Look, I'm a musician. I'm classically trained, and I write these very complex neoclassical piano pieces. They're not for the faint of heart. I also put out. We're working on it now, but this is from 2008, so it's a while. Last band I had together, and it's saxophone, drums, fretless bass, and me on keyboards and vocals. So I know music. It's like I know music, and with all due respect to Taylor Swift and the Swifties that follow her religiously, we are looking at a mediocre talent, is what this is. And it's celebrated as some great thing. It's like, are you kidding me? I mean, it's mediocrity is celebrated. And I mean, you just take any song by Taylor Swift and compare it. I'll age myself here. Just take a Beatles song and it's just like this. It's like it's the difference is unbelievable.
We were talking about this yesterday. We got into like a deep dive about, and my guilty pleasure. I love Amy Winehouse, but there is some complexity to her music. She does. She's a student of jazz. Whatever. What I'm trying to say is, like, when I see Taylor Swift, the same thing. And for my generation, I say she's no Michael Jackson, but there's girls fainting at her. And Michael Jackson, his music was not as deep as you say, you know, the Beatles, and then you can go further from there. But yeah, I don't get it unless it's just a huge distraction. It's great. It works.
I have a theory I've been working on where, like, sort of art is human beings' imitation of God, right? We look around and we look at everything that he's created and we want to emulate that in some regard, right? And so at the highest levels, art serves as an homage to the creator. And if you can just corrupt that and bastardize it and reduce it and completely screw up people's idea internally of what art is, what beauty is, which is why, I mean, Taylor Swift is one example, but in the hip hop world, we have characters like there's a Sexy Red. Her name is Sexy Red. There's two things going on here. One is she's a terrible artist. Two is she's objectively not sexy. She's not beautiful. She's actually very off-putting and terrible looking. And it's like what they're trying to do. The industry seems to have a vested interest in manipulating your perception of beauty. And if you can stop seeing beauty objectively, then you can stop seeing the beauty in God's creation and you can stop recognizing the handiwork of God in all things. I think that is really like what this is about is removing that connection. If art is our imitation of God or our homage to God, well, we need to reduce that. And that will effectively stop our ability of seeing, the details that suggest there is a creator.
And he let us know, what the end game is. I mean, it's no secret. He's given us details of what the end game looks like. So, you talk about the arts being corrupted. Absolutely. I mean, the arts are just all of it most of it is completely corrupted. Now, I mean, there's sections of things I love listening to. There's a lot of great jazz stations out there, but the masses don't really listen to jazz so much. There's a woman, Valentina Litsitsa, who's a classically trained pianist. She's like unbelievable. She's like a modern day Litz. Her hands are huge, and she can actually play.
6 fingers? How many fingers?
Almost. She's very pretty, very feminine, but she's an unbelievable pianist. And watch her play Hungarian Rhapsody sometime. That'll blow your mind. So, we have, and even Christian music is down to 3 chords or 4 chords, endlessly cycled. I can't listen to it because there's no creativity. They make this big deal, this wall of sound and, and all this chanting and stuff, but there's nothing. It's vapid. There's nothing there.
Ellie, you know the Bible way better than I do. So there's I mentioned the other day, they said Lucifer, when he walked, he was like covered with, covered with all this beautiful stuff, and the sound that it made was like tendrils and tassels that were beautiful. Some people say he was the first musician. Do you think that?
Well, he was the worship leader. So, it's like, okay, oops, that's not good. I have people that are inside the music industry that have told me in no uncertain terms that there's definitely a Luciferian satanic agenda that permeates the entire industry. It wasn't like that 30 or 40 years ago, but it is now. I mean, it was creeping in 30 or 40 years ago, but it's full blown. When you get someone like Madonna, and if you, with all due respect to Madonna, I mean, give me a break, but she's at the Super Bowl and it's a full blown occult Egyptian ceremony. That's what it is. There's no doubt about it. And she's up there doing these gestures, which I'm looking at going, how can she possibly be doing that? She's making all these like moves. The whole thing is an occult ceremony. Katy Perry comes riding in on a beast. Seriously? Yeah. A woman rides the beast. I mean, the imagery it makes you wonder who's putting this stuff on. Katy Perry's music on Alien, which I used to show way back in the day in my presentations. This goes back 15 years when she came out with that song. And at the end of that video, she finally shows what she is. She's a fawn. She's a chimera. This is Genesis 6 screaming at us. And I remember sitting next to this assistant pastor came up to me when I was done, and he goes, LA, you're talking about this, and I'm saying, well, my kids don't know anything about this. And my kids are sitting right behind me, and I turn around, and they're lip syncing to the Katy Perry song. They already know all the lyrics. I was like, oh my gosh. And this is the disconnect that the modern day church doesn't get, because it's not about feeling good and all this other stuff. It's about knowing the times that we live in. And let me just segue to what I think might happen. Israel right now is fighting a 7-front war. 7 fronts, okay? They got the Gaza Strip, they have Yemen, they have the West Bank, they have Iraq, they have Syria, they have Lebanon and Iran. It's a 7-front war. That's what they're looking at. And this is just the beginning. Turkey and Russia, Turkey and Iran are now doing business not in the petrodollar anymore. They're working off the BRICS, working off the other currency. That's a no-no. That's why Saddam got whacked, because he was trading oil not in petrodollars. So then you've got Turkey with Erdogan saying that backing Hamas and all this other stuff. And this whole thing, and this is a scenario I think we might be looking at. The neo-Darwinists, not the hardline Darwinists, but the neo-Darwinists realized the complexity of a deoxyribonucleic double helix of life, the DNA spiral. That's the name of our company, Spiral of Life. And it shows the finger of God in this DNA spiral coming down. Very deliberate. We take the Sistine Chapel finger of God instead of finger of man. It's the DNA structure going down. So the Darwinists, when Charlie Darwin was alive and everything, over millions and billions of years, just somehow mindlessly evolved nonsense. The neo-Darwinists know that the complexity of the DNA molecular structure just didn't fall out of the sky. It just didn't happen. There has to be some sort of a designer somewhere, some sort of intelligent design making this thing. So they're looking out panspermia. The God of the Bible, no, he can't possibly be doing this. So they're already looking out there, panspermia. Who seeded us here? Who are our progenitors? Here's the scenario that I think is going to happen. And I really believe this. I think that we are looking at the nascent beginnings of World War III as we speak. It's prophetic. Is it Ezekiel 38? Is it Psalm 83? Isaiah 17, the destruction of Damascus? We don't know. That's why we watch and we wait and we look. But it ain't going away. And it's been like 80 days now. It's not going away. And by the way, I was supposed to be in Israel on October 7th, just so you guys know.
Oh, lucky you.
Yeah.
Didn't go.
No, we called the whole thing off. We called the tour off. The Nephilim Mounds tour, the Nephilim tour in Israel. We had a full bus load of people signed up for it. And we were supposed to, on the 7th of October, we were leaving. We were at the Prophecy Watchers Conference in Oklahoma. We were going to fly that afternoon in Atlanta, bivouac in Atlanta, and then Monday morning we would have arrived in Israel. But we had rearranged our schedule because of the conference. Originally, we were supposed to be in Israel on the 5th of October. And if I had done that, we would have been in the thick of things. But I digress. Here's what I think might happen. The globe right now is completely connected. For the first time in the history of mankind, we are connected. There are satellites which cover the entire planet. They're everywhere. So the grid, the satellite grid network connects us all. Just like it's some of the great things. Here we are talking. I'm in California. I don't know where you guys are. Probably the East Coast someplace. Top Lobsta. I mean, that's New England as far as I know.
We're in Florida.
Okay, whatever. But you got what I mean. So here we are, and if you have a nuclear event on this planet anywhere, and the fact that they're already saber rattling Russia and Ukraine, and the Europeans are already saber rattling with new tactical nukes and dirty nukes, and it's like, what are we looking at here? Why are you even running it up the flagpole? If you have a nuclear event go off anywhere on this planet, the entire grid lights up. All of humanity tunes in. This is it. We're all looking at this thing. Are we next, right? And that's when they show up. That's when we see the mile-wide craft. And they will say, we seeded you here. We are your progenitors. We created all life on this planet. We started the world's civilizations, the world's religions. Now at this critical juncture, we're back to usher mankind into a golden age. And here's something to think about. And I came up with this saying: we go up, they come down. We go up, they show up. So taking that, Jeff Van Hatten and Mondo Gonzalez got together and started looking at a biblical framework, possibly for the rapture. And they came up with 3 incidents, which is really cool. And it's this: when Elijah goes up in the whirlwind, Elisha, his servant, watches. In other words, Elijah just doesn't disappear, does he? Elijah's sitting there looking up and seeing Elijah go up. That's number 1. When Jesus, in his resurrected body, all the disciples, and we don't know, it's just not the 11 at that point. I think he's got a whole crowd of men, women, kids, and he departs and he goes up, right? They watch him go up. He doesn't disappear. They watch him go up where? Into the clouds. The 2 witnesses, this is future, who are killed and their bodies lay in the streets of Jerusalem, and then they're resurrected and they go up. So the whole world watches. Get this. What if we go up, right, into the clouds, and then a UFO comes down? And these guys, the fallen ones, will say, well, we had to take them to some other place because they weren't ready for the paradigm shift.
That's the great deception.
That's the great deception, right?
Very interesting.
Very interesting.
People would buy that hook, line, and sinker too. I mean, we've been kind of geared by Hollywood, and now, of course,
Completely.
on the governmental front for this sort of event.
And something important to mention there is it's the idea of this, like the Hermetic principle of consent. Because a lot of people are going to say aliens, right?
Right.
Yeah, but they constantly, it's vampire stuff. You have to agree.
You have to bring them in.
Yeah. So even before the beginning of the conversation, you were saying we had accords. They have some accord with the government.
Right.
Why not just take it? You do whatever you want. You're flying around like at light speed.
Right.
Just take it, but they can't.
They have to agree.
Yeah, that's a very strong point to say, hey, look, people, these are not your creators. They're not some people from faraway space lands. They're literal demons or Nephilim or leftover, whatever you want to call them. And you have to consent. That's why my entire brand, if you see it, it looks like when I'm on Twitter, it looks like I'm saying crazy stuff. All I'm saying is no in fantastical ways. Everything is always no, because I don't consent to this, and now I'm going to make you look foolish. No. That's all you got to say. And this stops. But I don't, like you said, the Bible's written a certain way, so we're going in a certain direction, and it's not going to stop because we don't have the willpower to just simply say no.
Right. And like I said, it's this concept of rebranding, right? Where we're now, like you just said, in the middle of mutually assured destruction, right? That we've been geared to be fearful of for the longest time. And now who's going to come? The ones who seeded us, the ones who are here to save us from our own selves and also to save the planet. When you look at it through that lens, it has been a long engineered deception. And that's why it's called the Great Deception. It's monumental.
I completely concur.
LA, can I ask you something about, we have a couple of minutes left, but something about Israel. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask, because it's a topic, it's a hot topic, right? Either people are, completely against what's going on, or people are saying, listen, this is the promised land. And it's not that I'm against them, but like the government, what I see when I study the Talmud, they'll say things like Jesus is boiling in piss and excrement for being a false prophet. And this is one of the books that they study. And it's hard for me to come to terms with, like, okay, what are those people doing there? Are they even the people that we're talking about from the Bible? There's something special about this spot, but why would they be so, like, I mean, the term Gentile or Goyim is a better term. I mean, if you just study through the Talmud and what they say, I have big problems with this. And some of the things that they do is kind of wicked. So I'm like, I don't know what's going on here, but I'm going to reserve my judgment until, I know a little bit more.
Remember, the Jewish nation was, when the Romans came in AD 70, that was the end of the temple as we know it. So that whole system went kaputnik. There was a diaspora of Jews that many of them went to Rome as slaves. I get that. And then populated from there. But there's always been a population in all those Middle Eastern countries under the Ottoman Turks, and even before that. There's always been a remnant, just like in Iraq and Iran. There's always been Jews all throughout the Middle East. So what's the problem is the whole Khazarian thing. Yeah, that happened. They converted, but those are not necessarily the Jews that are there now. And what happened was Hitler had no problem at all figuring out who the Jews were, which is why 6 million of them were gassed. If he hadn't been defeated, he would have wiped out every single Jew on the planet. He would have hunted them down. There's a reason for it, because in order for prophecy to be fulfilled, Israel had to be regathered from the four corners of the earth and reestablished in their ancient homeland, which is exactly what we see in 1947. This is it. Israel's back in its ancient homeland, which is unprecedented. Are there good Jews? Of course there's good Jews. Is the Talmud off the wall? Absolutely, I get that. But they've rejected their Messiah. But we also know from prophecy, they will look on him whom they have pierced and mourn for him as an only son. So that day is coming when the light bulb finally goes off and they realize, oh my gosh, we blew it. And as a nation, as a whole nation, they will look at that and mourn. It'll be a day of national mourning because they realize he was the Messiah. But they're also, Paul tells us, they're spiritually blinded to what is going on. It's a supernatural blindness because of the rejection. But remember, the entire New Testament, for the most part, except for Luke, is written by Jews.
Right. Yeah. I guess it's just a question of, like, are those the same Jews? Because there's a lot of tribes going, you know what I mean? I'm not sure, but are these the guys?
Look at even the DNA. They're taking the DNA with the priesthood, and there's a marker for the priesthood, so they know who the priests are. That you couldn't do that, 100 years ago. Now, if your name is Cohen and you get your DNA, they can trace it back that you were a priest. I mean, that's the deal. I have a real close friend who did his DNA, and all of a sudden he finds he's 12% Jewish. And they're going like, well, how did this happen? So, I mean, there are definitely genetic markers which point to the 12 tribes. If these aren't the 12 tribes, if this isn't the remnant, then who are they? And this is where the whole Khazarian lie comes in to just muddy up the waters. But so let me for the first time in the history of the world in over almost 2,000 years, they're regathered. They're reestablished in their land. This starts the prophetic clock ticking. This is Jerusalem is a rock of stumbling to the entire planet. Everything that Scripture tells us is exactly what's going on. These are the Jews. These are the remnant. Not all of them are good, and I get that. Just like not all Christians are good. It goes either way. There's always good eggs and bad eggs.
Fair enough. It's just obviously it's been like you just said, it's been a stumbling block for me because I don't know what to think of it, but it just seems bad on, like, all around. Like I don't like when people it seems like they're trying to fulfill prophecy purposefully, and they're not. Trust me. But when you have
1,200 people that are slaughtered, with unprovoked, slaughtered. And if one of them was your brother or your father or your mother, give me a break. And that's what people don't get. And Hamas doesn't want a two-state solution. They want a one-state. And that's what people don't get about Islam. They're not interested in a two-state solution. They want a one-state solution where it's all is Islam. That's all they care about. Not all Arabs, but many Islamists, they hate the nation of Israel. They hate all the Jews. So we're looking at this vitriol, which makes no sense at all unless we put it into a spiritual, supernatural context. There's a saying I came up with years ago. The current political landscape is in direct correlation to supernatural events that happened in some cases millennia ago. That sums up exactly where we are, because the Jews have one set of supernatural events, Moses and the law and the Torah, and the Islamists have another set of supernatural events, the angel appearing to Muhammad and giving him a Quran. Two completely contradictory supernatural events which have colored the body politic. Welcome to modernity and where we are. The current political landscape, no one ever talks about this, and I didn't come up with that. I got it from him. The current political landscape is in direct correlation to supernatural events that happened in some cases millennia ago. It's a profound statement, and I'm not the originator of it. I just, what was that again, Lord? Okay, got it.
Well, we spoke about that recently too, like the Book of Job. It's all very it's like a courtroom, right? So it's like Satan, the accuser. Yeah, so it's all like litigious, legal stuff, and obviously that leads into political. So I wouldn't be surprised if the spiritual realm and like, all this Nephilim stuff, all of the fallen angels, the kind of politics that must be going on with their war, it must be unbelievable. Thousands of years old. We're dealing with like Afghanistan, a 20-year war, and I can't keep track. I tried to read some books about like who did what. I have no idea anymore. So man, just imagine the complexity of the entanglement that we're trying to uncover as we're headed towards the very end. it's
who wins? The rider on the white horse. That's Jesus himself, and that's and the armies of heaven rode with him. So hallelujah.
That's a great place. That's a great place to leave it. I want to respect your time because we're just a little over an hour. I love it. And Mr. Marzulli, thank you for coming on.
Thank you guys. Let's do it again.
With us. Absolutely. Live long. All right.
Very
We're
much,
going to
Mr.
stick.
Marzulli.
Me and Dave will stick around for a little while, but you can pop out, and thank you very much. I'll send you some links when this is all up and finalized and all that. Thank you.
You got it, guys. God bless you both. Take care.
You too. Take care. Wow. Fantastic episode.
Dude.
Bananas. In my opinion.
I feel like
I like this better.
I
like it too.
Yeah, the other one was too intense. I feel like there's so much. I mean, it's a huge topic, right? And we only had an hour. I'm so glad that we did a good enough job that he offered to come back again. That's always nice. It's good that he wasn't just like, all right, well, it's been real. Bye.
When he drops his next film, obviously the one that he can't talk about just yet, I definitely want to talk about that. I love the conversation that we like, because there's so much stuff that we agree on. Obviously, I don't agree on the Israel thing as much, but it's just interesting when somebody comes with this wealth of knowledge and perspective. It's like, I'm willing to like hear this, and I really want to parse that out and think about it. Maybe go and pray about that, because we don't really know. But the point that he makes about like everybody is kind of like pushed into Israel. It's kind of like, okay, yeah, well, I don't know. There's a lot to unpack with this one. I'm gonna have to rewatch that episode.
That idea, right, of like them not trying to force biblical prophecy, I'm at odds with that, because I do feel like they are. I expressed to you about going to the evangelical church, and it really felt like that was the idea, was like everything that's happening is perfectly acceptable because this is all going to usher in the return of Christ. And, they're not the only ones with that ideology. But I mean, he was one of those guys where like, we got sucked into a JFK rabbit hole. Like I was like, you could shoot anything at this dude and he's going to have, whether or not you agree with them, he has a well thought out position on, like, I felt like we could have asked him anything. I really would have liked to have pinned him down a little bit more on sort of, we connected the dots between the Nephilim and this alien disclosure that's supposedly happening. And what I was hoping to go down was the why, because, and I know he did touch it, but it was like there is they've always have had an interest in our genetics. And so there's this hybridization program going on. I believe it was Marzulli who I heard say that in the 90s, people that were being abducted and seeing what they thought were their own children that they had with these entities, the children were like off-putting as fuck. Like they were they were fucked up looking. And then in the 2000s, the same stories were happening, but like the children were a little bit more endearing, but they still had like gigantic black eyes. And then, like, as we get closer to the 2020s, the stories now are like these children are weird, like autistic, but they're like still close enough to us that there's not like a big disconnect. And it's like they've been perfecting this over time. And I would have liked to have touched on that. But man, I mean, I'm happy with where we went because, we're always saying that this alien thing is a big deception and that aliens is a rebranding. And I was at least glad that we got that out of them. Like, yeah, it's a big rebranding, and this is not entities from another world coming to stop our mutually assured destruction, but really, like you said, this is the great deception.
Yeah. Someone here in the Rumble chat says the Bible says no one will know the end time, so humans trying to usher it in is literal Nephilim shit. And I agree with that. It's this is the thing that I really do struggle with, because like we're saying, they're trying to like purposefully bring the end times to a head, right? But
right,
they're forcing it in such a way, and then also like for me to justify that this is like the good side, or the side that we should be supporting. Most of these people are atheists, and they're up against the countries that are trying to invade them are kind of like savages, and they treat their women horrible, but they're also like godly people. It's the same
God-fearing people.
God-fearing people. They don't believe in Jesus, so that's like a critical, like, well, in my opinion, misstep in their religion, because that part of forgiveness is not really there. That's what makes Christianity special. But same God. Israel is completely godless. Then you look at Russia and Ukraine. They're shutting down Orthodox churches. Like, they have their army just going and kicking these people out. While I look at pictures of Orthodox churches in Russia, and there's some of the most beautiful buildings, and they're up right now. And like, the way they've celebrated Christmas there, it's like, I don't know. I'm not on the ground, so I can't really speak to Russia and what it is. But
that doesn't bode well.
It doesn't bode well for me, because it's like, whose side am I on here? The side that's creating pornography, or the side that's saying like, yo, we don't even look at that stuff, because that's really kind of what it is, right? If we're talking about the Middle East and Israel, it's a tough one. But he does have a point.
Well, it's like, look, you look at, what's his name? Zelensky, right? And he's doing big homo shit. He's dressed in drag. He's dancing in heels. And then you look at Putin, and say what you will about him, and I do think there's some validity to the idea that he's using our own cultural tensions against us. That could be very valid, but still, what he's saying is true, right? Where he says things like the West has been taken over by essentially Satanism, and that they're transing their children and all this other crazy crap. And it's like, well, yeah, I mean, he could be sowing dissent in our country. It's very, like, you ever see that what's homeboy's name, the ex-KGB agent Yuri Bezmenov, where he's talking about how you want to destabilize a country, it no longer happens through espionage in the sort of sexy way like a 007, but in reality it's a generational destabilization of a country by causing the people to lose faith in their institutions, and that takes several generations. And so when you look at the idea of Putin saying things like, "Oh, Satanism has gripped the nation," and they're cutting their kids' dicks off. It's like, yes, that's true, but also that does shake to the core the people's faith in any foundations or any institutions in America. So it's hard to tell if it's just effective talking points or if he's just doing high level noticing or if it's probably fucking both, honestly.
Yeah, it's like a psyop on top of a psyop on top of a psyop. It's hard to say. We're not there. We have no idea. Neo Amishute said several thousand years of Nephilim breeding programs. What percent of the population is Nephilim spawn? 13%. Thank you. Next question.
Can I tell you something interesting? So I was listening to Tony Merkel's been out. Joel Thomas, who we've had on the show, awesome guy. He did a show on Tony's channel called The Good Nephilim. And
Just
one of the
listening to
things he
that.
said was, did you listen to it?
Almost finished. Probably like 40 minutes of it. Yeah.
I fucking love that guy. Like Joel knows his shit, man. Somebody was saying like they were looking for. I want to have him back. We're gonna have him back soon, and it's
There
funny
was a
because
point. He rattled off at least 17 different names for the Nephilim. I couldn't even rattle off one. I was like the Nephilim the Elohim and he's like and this one and that one. I was like, Jesus, dude, I don't know. I have no idea. Wow, that was a good episode.
But one of the things he said was that there is an island off, in Greece. I think it's called Bosk, and that you can trace their DNA to like it doesn't make sense. Basically, they speak a language that doesn't make sense. The dialect to the area doesn't make sense, and they have a very unique genetic signature that also does not exist anywhere outside of it. And I fucking, according to Ancestry.com, who I'm sure is making clones of me and butt fucking them to death in some sort of dungeon somewhere because I gave them my DNA, says that I have
consent.
Yeah, that's right. I fucking gave him consent on that one. But that I have Bosk in me, and I'm like, all right, cool. So I got Nephilim DNA, but I got none of the fucking height
Do you
or
know
anything cool. So that's cool.
Do you know that the owner of I don't know if she still does own it. The owner of 23andMe is a sister of Rachel Walensky, the owner, or maybe not anymore, but owner of YouTube. Kind of interesting.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That is interesting. I know BlackRock just bought like 23andMe, which is cool.
Well, whatever. So I guess like
No
the
big
devil
deal.
is doing insider trading. That's cool. This person, what's his name? It's Gravy Baby from Rumble says we need a Discord group or something. I agree. A group for our insanity.
I don't know anything about Discord at all. I'm like retarded when it comes to that.
I know people do like a Patreon thing where, we do have a Patreon. You could join our Patreon, and then maybe we could link some kind of way that you can join the Patreon and be in the Discord. I don't use Discord, but if you schizos will go on there, then I guess I'll go on there and chat with you. We'll talk about some Nephilim shit, and maybe you could teach me how to. I know they have a lot of emojis on, and it gets overwhelming. So I don't use Discord because I'm like, I can't choose how to feel towards what you said, so I just log off completely. I like that Twitter gives you like, you got 4. Pick, are you happy? You're sad?
Yeah, that's it. You only
confused.
got fucking 4.
Yeah,
that's
like happy,
like that
sad,
thing.
Confused, horny.
You ever hear
Like,
that fucking that?
Did you just look
Horny.
at Josie's calendar? You must be horny. It's the 4th one.
Fucking spirit of Lilith. There's that thing where if you give people too many options, it's like it increases the level of buyer's remorse. But in reality, if you give people too many options, it just fucking creates like a ton of anxiety. So
That's what I
don't
do.
understand how to use Discord.
David, it's funny because David actually does that in real life. Like if you saw yesterday when he was presented with whatever Clint said to him, and he goes, "Ugh." If you study him closely in real life, he'll actually go, "Ugh," like not know how to react. Like it's fucking hilarious. I love it.
I only want, just give me 2, 3, 4 tops. If you give me 4 options, that's fucking the limit. Anything after that, I don't want any of whatever you're giving me now. Now it's just too much. It could be good things too. It could be like, you want this amount of money, you want that amount of money, this, or this. Once that 5th one hits, I'm like, I don't want any fucking money. Don't give me any money.
Let's do, I don't know how many of you guys have Twitter? 1, 2, 3 in the chat if you've got Twitter. If you got Twitter, maybe we can make like a group in Twitter, but again, from like the Patreon. So we'll let you in if we reckon, because I'm on Twitter.
We have Nephilim Watch, which is a group that we don't use at all. People do post in there, but then they get bored because we don't say anything back. We have to get better at that. You know, you guys got to cut us a little bit of slack because we're basically retarded, and there's so much going on so quickly. We're gonna get better at things as we go on. Dickie Walnuts with the 1, 2, 3.
It's called Twitter.
There you go.
I'm banning this guy. What's his name? Tanner, you're out. You're not allowed.
He called it. No, dude. Well, look, he said it down there. What's your Twitter? Can I
Top
address
Lobster.
for a second? We did have a fucking an actual, not a well, probably a real schizophrenic that was being communicated with demons in the chat, and he kept yelling in all caps. And did you notice that?
I did. I
wanna-
well I put him in timeout, and then I guess when he was done with the timeout, he came back yelling again. I was like, listen,
Yeah.
I don't know. If we're gonna have guests on here, thank you for showing up. We're gonna have guests on here that eat this guy here, Leon. Hi, Leon. What are you talking about? Blacks, Lord. I'm not reading all that, dude. Cut it down.
That's crazy.
You're gonna have
Look,
to.
I'm gonna try to read one. Here, right here. Here we go.
Speak in lowercase to me. I don't know what this is.
Yeah. Don't yell at me. Don't fucking yell at me. So it says,
You gotta read that.
here, Black Laws Dictionary, let's go legal with the tenacious thorn headsman 3 old key 3. What, dude? I'm sorry, I didn't say all the emojis. I don't know what that is.
I don't like that you didn't capitalize the before tenacious.
Yeah,
Everything else is capitalized. That's intentional. I don't know what this is. Are you casting a spell?
Very jarring. I think that's what that is. This is some sort of like I don't really know what it is. Dickie Walnut said he's speaking
Leon,
in the chirp frequency.
Leon, we're gonna keep you around because I like you. But here's the thing: if you're gonna keep watching the show, we're gonna have people that even we don't agree with. Sometimes we'll do an episode and after we'll be like, didn't like that guy at all. But it is what it is.
I'm pretty sure he called us retarded. Actually, if we go back to the earlier ones, he said 3 fucking morons, something like that. He didn't
that's
like us.
fine.
And Leon, I want to say, hey man, cut us some slack. All right, we're gonna fuck up sometimes. And
I don't have an argument for that. You're like, look at this moron. I'm like, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
We know, but we're doing our best, Leon. Okay, so maybe
like
tone
that.
it down. Press caps lock. Go ahead and pop that bad boy off. Take your shirt off. Have some fun. We're gonna talk for a couple more minutes. All right.
Relax a little bit. If you take the caps lock off, we probably wouldn't even notice the aggression, honestly. But I do like what Dickie said. He's sort of our pet Nephilim. And it's cool to have a pet Nephilim. So Leon is kind of, he's like, maybe that's it. He only speaks in all caps because they weren't really intelligent, right? They were like kind of retarded homosexuals, the Nephilim.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's what's happening here is he's just putting off that Nephilim energy. And he only speaks in sort of like if you see him in real life, he's big, 6 fingers. He only yells. Right, but he's good at like moving boxes around, picking up rocks and shit like that. So maybe not so bad. I don't mind having a piece of Nephilim in the crew.
Leon, relax, okay? You're gonna want to take your shirt off your current shirt. Who knows what it says, and you're gonna want to buy one from toplobster.com. Okay, you buy one from Top Lobster, specifically the Nephilim Death Squad collection, and we're gonna be adding some more stuff too. But you can get this stuff. This is cool. When you buy it, you'll be entered into a raffle. I feel like I don't know how many times I could say the same thing here. You'll be entered into a raffle to then get a free Rife Royal frequency machine. It's a frequency healing machine. This stuff is cool. I think I have this one behind me. No, I don't even know where that one's at. But this one's embroidered.
I was quite jealous when I saw your hoodie. I was like, damn, this dude's got a fucking hoodie. It's a nice ass hoodie.
I asked him too. I was like, David, I said, which one do you want? And I gave you the choice, and you chose that one. If you would have said with the little one, then you get the hoodie. So I was like, is what it is.
Dude, you didn't clarify that. That's unbelievable. You got to give me details on this shit.
But what am I gonna? So all right, I think we could ask the chat. I wasn't being facetious. I did want the hoodie too, but I left it up to him. I said, listen, and I showed you the back of the hoodie too, right? I showed you the back.
Yeah, it's dope as hell, dude.
Okay.
I was like, yo, what the fuck? It's got the other logo on it. That's dope.
But I did show you. I said this one got 2 prints, and this one just has the one in the front. You chose the one in the front, and I was like, fair enough. And then that's it. But it is what it is, man.
I do I'm not gonna lie. I have the long sleeve, and the long sleeve is very form fitting. I also love the way the logo looks in real life. Like it's cool to see it on the screen, but in real life, it's super dope. I'm not mad at the long sleeve, but I don't know, something about that hoodie. I was like, damn, dude. Especially like it's been cold in fucking Florida. All of David's
Why is
Nephilim
everybody
hype
yelling
went into
at
his
us? What are we doing?
October award winner. Look, I got to admit, I am in all caps, guys. If I'm watching Tower Gang, I fucking I hit it all caps because I want you guys to notice. So I respect Dustin's all caps, especially because he's paying homage to the Cocktober award winner. But not when you're saying incohesive schizophrenic shit. If you do all caps, here's the rule. And I'm putting it down right now. All caps, you're not allowed to put emojis in there. Once you do the combination of emojis and all caps, I'm going to call the police because I don't know what you're trying to say, but it feels very threatening. Why is the host getting all the free merch?
Because it costs money, Dickie. It costs money to actually create and buy. This is if it was free, I'd be selling to everybody. Yeah, you could talk to us on Twitter. I don't know what he's talking about. I can't get you to respond to my Twitter Spaces comments. Haven't seen
that's
them.
interesting. Yeah, typically Twitter does come up on the thing, but I've not seen very many. I don't know if people are watching on Twitter.
Oh yeah, this
Maybe
guy's
that's an
watching on
Elon
Twitter.
problem.
Sublime.
Sublime's the shit. I love that dude. That guy is the
What's
shit.
up?
He told me some fucking wonky shit about pulling a medicine man, a medicine man pulling a fucking demon out of a dude, and that guy being like, "Why do I need Christ? I've got a fucking medicine man." And when he pulled it out, it looked like a bundle of fucking hair, which goes right into that parasite shit that we've been talking about. I know we're supposed to do something possibly with Elijah Schaefer where we talk about parasites and their connections to demons, and so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that was one of the first places I had heard something like that, at least in person, was from Sublime. He's the shit. Love that dude.
I guess
There you
we're
go.
gonna
Fucking purge suddenly, baby. Don't forget to use promo code Nephilim to get 10% off of your parasite cleanse. I love when you go down to the reviews and it shows the long tapeworm that somebody shit out and it's sitting on the edge of the toilet.
It actually
that
looks
shit
like
is what's living
that.
inside of you. Yeah, it does look like that. I mean, we all have parasites inside of us. I remember seeing some sort of like, there it goes, boom. The toilet was right up there at the top there. But yeah, we all have parasites. I think in the West, in America, we've got like a real problem because we don't know how to treat it whatsoever, and we end up being inundated with all kinds of parasites. And look, if there really is a connection between parasites and the spirit of Satan, right? Satan was made to crawl on his belly for the rest of his days, and parasites are like worms. I'm not saying that there's a huge correlation there, but I think we're onto something. And if you have parasites, you may be inundated with Nephilim spirits. So go to purgesuddenly.com.
You might have demons. You probably have demons in you. You got to get them. The only way to get them out is through your anus. Okay, that's this actually probably leads into this whole thing with the 100 Men in a Coffin and George W. Bush. They're pushing the demons in through the anus. The way to get them out is through the anus. You got to poop it out. You see that toilet bowl? This is not a test, people. This stuff comes out of your butt. I've taken parasite cleanses before, and I have nothing that long, but I have pooped out some worms. So has my wife. Yes, we show each other our poop.
It makes you wonder, like, how did you get the fucking worm, like, on the, because it's like on the lip of the toilet. You're like, what happened there, dude? That was crazy.
He picked it out. He must have picked it out.
He did. He picked it out, and then he dropped it on the toilet, and he was like, let me get a picture of that. And then he had to touch it again.
A better way that you can do it is if you're going to poop and you've been taking these for a couple of weeks, as we figured this out, this is like maybe the second cleanse that we did, just put toilet paper in the bowl before you go. So you poop on the paper and it'll float a little bit, and then you'll be able to see whatever's coming out. Like, does this stuff work? We paid a lot of money for that. This is actually a pretty good deal for those for these parasite cleanses. The ones that we bought, paid a lot of money for. I was like, I want to see if this works or if I'm just taking things that I can't pronounce. And lo and behold, yeah, some parasites in there. But I'm actually due for another cleanse probably in another couple of months. Every 6 months or so, you should do it, especially if you live out where I live. So yeah, I'm gonna be using Purge Suddenly, and
I haven't done it. I want to do it, but if you do it, you could use promo code Nephilim for 10% off. You can do something good for your body, and you could do something cool for us. You want to support the show. You also want to improve your overall health. PurgeSuddenly.com, promo code Nephilim, and that is right there. I was actually going to address this. Now, I don't know if our stuff
how many
goes up to
X's
quadruple
is that?
XL.
That's quadruple.
That's 4XL. But
yeah,
listen,
we got that.
Dustin, hey, what's going on, Dustin? Why you need 4XL? I'm a little worried about you.
Dustin's a big boy.
I think, Dustin, if you unless it's all muscle, you might be one of those big dudes, right? Like the mountain from Game of Thrones. But hit me up, and I'll tell you how to fix that a little bit for free, for freezies. Hit me up, slide in my DMs, and we'll get you at least to like a 2XL. That's wild, Dustin. 4Xs?
4XL, we do sell it. You know what? Maybe I'm gonna make it so that we don't sell any 4XL. Sorry, Dustin, you're not allowed to. If I see an order come through for you, I'm canceling it until you get the 3X.
You'll get a package. It'll just be a Post-it note in a box that says no.
It'll say lose weight, Dustin. That's fucked up.
Stop doing that, Dustin. We can, like I said, DM me. Honestly, Dustin, if you DM me, I'll give you some good advice. I used to be mad fat, and now I'm not mad fat anymore. Diggy Walnut says Neff size merch, and I agree. Holy shit, MK Ryan, he's doing it, dude. He's doing fucking all caps, and he's doing an emoji. But I like MK. MK's the shit. He said the what is that? The orange, the
peach?
Strawberry. The peach of the Dave clone I bought on where Wayfair is loose. Who do I contact for a refund? Don't buy stuff off Wayfarer, man. That's how you get this. Like you're getting children, man.
No, you gotta
like,
only buy the children. You bought a grown man from Wayfair, a clone of a grown man. You expected it to be good. It's gonna be some cheap knockoff. Actually, our next sponsor, Wayfair.
$7,000. Wayfair. Hey,
cabinets from Wayfair.com. Go ahead, type in Nephilim and get 2 for 1. You get 2 children for the price of 1. They just stuff them in together. No guarantee they arrive alive, but go ahead and tell them that we sent you.
They're clones. It doesn't matter. They're clones. This is directly from BlackRock. They own 23andMe. It doesn't matter. They don't have like a soul. I don't know. Do clones have a soul? I don't think so, right? So it's not a big deal. It's not as big of a crime as you might think it is. And I can't help you with the loose anus of the Dave clone. I'm very sorry. Use promo code Lolita. Oh
my God. This is if what we said before didn't get us on a watch list and a visit, this is definitely going to be like he was saying, oh, this guy came up to me, threatened me. He said, you know, we could put child porn on your phone. I was like, and here we are, like literally joking as if this is a sponsor. We're doing the hard work for you people. I mean, if you don't have us arrested by end of year, it's your fault.
This is actually definitely it's productive because what's happening here is they thought like they started to pack up their suitcases for a trip to Florida. They're watching this part of the show and they're like, fuck it, never mind. Fuck these guys. Nobody believes them anyway. It doesn't
like
matter.
They got it handled.
They're half retarded.
Like their handlers, they must have handlers on the other side that we don't know about that are telling them to do this shit to themselves.
The local authorities. It's no big deal.
It's government work, so they said, no, we're going to go, but they're actually like in South Florida on a beach somewhere that is just not doing their job. They come back like, did you do that? Like, you did that, Bill? And they're like, yeah, we did it. We didn't do anything. Like,
yeah, that's like the benefits of living in Florida is every time the CIA comes for you, you're like, but have you seen the beautiful beaches? And they're like, hold that thought. Let me go see the beautiful beaches and I'll be back. And they never come back because the beaches, they are in fact beautiful. I love how we're supposed to be talking about L.A. Marzulli, what we thought about the episode. And we're like, look at these Nephilim retards. They're selling fucking, like, we're just going to cleanse your anus of these Nephilim spirits. I love that I like to think he would enjoy this part, but I also am happy that L.A. did not see this part of the show.
Yeah.
Unless he's still backstage.
He's backstage. He's like, all that shit I said about coming back on, I'm not coming back on. He did not like. I think. Yeah, I called Stephen King a douchebag, and he was like, not here, not on this show.
I like that. I thought that was very funny. He was like, "This is now my show, and you're not going to say that on my show."
I was like, "I'm sorry, Dad. I didn't mean."
He said something about putting soap in your mouth. I fucking almost fell out. Oh my God, that was hilarious. I love the dude. Honestly, I think he's very cool. Whatever his stances are on Israel and stuff like that, you know, because it's like they have been trying to genetically create a perfect red heifer. So there's been efforts to like push the what would you call it, the prophecies along, and so
that's why I didn't push back too hard because I'm like, that's not what we were really here for. But I was thinking about the red heifer right away. I was like, these guys are cloning red heifers to try to. They're trying to push this stuff through. I don't like it. It rubs me the wrong way.
And then the 6 gazillion ovens and the whole situation. I was like, that's a little high. That's a high number. Yeah, there you go. Top's eye twitch when he said 6 million is top tier comedy.
I don't know. I got to rewatch it now. I have a bad poker face, guys. So if we were actually thinking, we're like, yo, this is what we're going to do. Tim Pool failed miserably at poker with the boys. He was supposed to do that with Clint. He blew it. But this is what we're going to do. We're going to do dominoes with the Death Squad or Nephilim Domino Squad, where you have, I'm gonna make a custom domino table. We could do it right here. Me and David. David has no idea how to play dominoes, so half the fun will be me teaching him. And then we're playing against two other people, and we're just talking bullshit. You're not allowed to talk about the dominoes at the table, but you could talk about anything else. So I think that would be a fun show. Yeah,
I'm excited for that. I don't know how to play dominoes. I don't know how to play anything cool. My dad wasn't around, so nobody taught me anything. I don't know how to play a single card game. I don't know how to play fucking dominoes. I don't know how to play any organized sports. I just had a lot of pent up rage as a child, so I'm good at combat sports. That's literally it. I missed out on fucking all that stuff.
Sounds dumb. That means it'll work.
Fucking A, bro. But I do like that guy though. He's all right. I'm 7 hours away. I'll head over. Fucking Dickie, come on over, dude. I don't know who we're gonna get. Dickie. It'll just be us and our wives. and they'll be like, "We're so tired of your stupid shit." My wife was talking to me. She's like, "I don't know if I'm going to come to Georgia." And I was like, "Well, it'd be cool if you did." And she's like, "So I could listen to you talk about more conspiracy shit?" I'm like, "Fair. That's fair. I get it."
That is true. They do just sit there as like, I mean, it was a 5-hour car ride and we were just going off for
Yo.
this is how insane. I was going to say talented, but insane really. Me and David are. It's a 5.5-hour ride, including the stops from my house. He drove to my house and then we went to Luke's house all the way in Miami. 5.5 hours nonstop talking. Crazy shit. Get into Luke's house, still can't stop talking to Luke. He doesn't want to talk to us.
By the way, dominate the fucking show. Like we're
talk
not even
for 2
out,
more
we're not
hours.
even drained.
Yeah, talk for 2 more hours, no problem. Then we talk to Clint for another until that night. Get 3 hours of sleep, maybe. Talk 5.5 more hours all the way home. I was like, what the fuck just happened?
Hold on,
Leon's
wait. Leon
back.
is mad at us. Leon, he said, all caps doesn't mean yelling. Black Law's Dictionary. Dumb asses. Wait till after this live show. What's going to happen? Herdsman 3, Old Key 3, December 28th, 2023, 4:59. That's right now, Leon. What's happening?
I don't like this.
This doesn't lend itself to a dialogue, Leon. All right? I don't understand what you're saying. If you really are passionate about your message, you need to refine it, because I'm having Black's Laws Dictionary. Blacks don't have laws, or at least not any that they follow. I don't know what he means. What does this mean?
I know what
All
I know.
caps doesn't mean.
Leon, I got the cure for what ails you. Okay, and this is what it is, man. Real life technology. All these machines, I'm 100% sure there's a frequency for whatever's going on with you, okay? So, like I said, we said that this one here, this is a $5,500 machine. We have it right here. That's the raffle that you could win. Okay. Oh, wait, sorry, I'm in the wrong thing here. Yeah, that's the raffle that you can win. It's still not coming up because it's showing some other stuff. But I'll just scroll down. That sucks.
Yeah, we got to go to the Royal Rife machine, and it hopefully will fix whatever's wrong with Leon. You got to tune into the frequency of like 42069, and it'll get rid of retardism or whatever's going on there. There's something real wrong, Leon.
Here it is. This is it, because it opens up a new tab, so it doesn't show. Yeah, that's the Real Rife machine. That you can tune that to some kind of frequency. I'll ask Matt which one could help you, but they have other stuff too, like really cool stuff.
Can help you.
Actually, let me show this. Like, they have a Christmas tree star. That's pretty cool. I mean, Christmas is over, but
that is pretty dope. Oh, do you have it? He gave you the Christmas tree star?
No, I want it though.
I was like, what? That's fucking cool.
This is actually this is a copper coil that you put in your garden, and it I guess like it emits frequencies, or it grabs like frequencies from the ground, and it helps your plants grow. I know some people do use copper coils. I've heard this a bunch to enhance the growth of their garden. So people do that. He gave us these rocks, these stones. I don't know what to do. Maybe I'm going to chip one of these up and snort them. Really cool. And then there's other stuff. He also gave us a blanket. Look at this. I actually put it on my kids. So my wife gave my son the phone the other day, and the kids keep it right on their nuts. And I'm like, no.
Yeah, I do. I'm a 33-year-old man. I put it on my nuts. You hear my dog barking? Hold on a second. Let me mute this and shout at my fucking child. Give me 1 second here.
Oh, I don't hear him barking anyway. But yeah, I put this on them because it's an EMF blanket, and it'll stop the radiation that's coming from the phone that's going directly into their ball sack or their ovaries or whatever. It's the least that we could do.
That's probably
given
how
the
I
tools.
got ball cancer, honestly. Like I had call the police. I'm screen shooting this podcast. I don't know. I think I like him. I'm back on fucking Team Leon. I like him.
Leon, don't subscribe to YouTube. Subscribe to the Rumble so that way we could see you on there, because we're not going to be on YouTube that much longer. And we like you.
Right.
We like this specific type of crazy. So come back. I like that you time date your tweet, your messages, even though when you message, you know that it does time date it underneath. Like we can go back and see exactly. But I like that you're doing it.
Yeah.
You're doing it manually. You're doing it all caps. There's a lot of emojis going on. Is that a brown telephone that you have there? I don't even know where you're finding these.
I see it as red. You have maybe a color issue actually, because that's clearly red. But I mean, once again with the messaging, I guess Leon doesn't necessarily care if anybody understands what he's saying, just that he understands what he's saying. And honestly, I have a lot of respect for that.
That's what it's for. Yeah, this would actually go very nicely in a slingshot. You can do a lot of damage with that, and they're kind of sharp.
That's it, dude. Dude, we got to do that. We got to get ourselves a Nephilim Death Squad sling. That would be super dope. We're gonna need it because clearly Leon is gonna come looking for us any day now. Herdsman 3. I'm sorry. I'm just like, I love, I like a good conspiracy, and I'm like looking at this cryptic message.
Let me see what is Herdsman 3.
Yeah, well, now you're gonna do it, and we're gonna find something fucking interesting. What did he say? The Black People's Law or the Black Book Law or something like that? He's basically a Black's Dictionary. Something. He's telling us something that's going to explain why some of it's in caps and some of it's lowercase. But I don't know that I want the mystery dissolved. I think I want to continue to live in this like in between.
It just keeps alluding to child porn. I'm not clicking any of this stuff, Leon. I don't know.
No shit.
No, I'm
fucking
joking.
Leon, dude, you got me. I was like, Leon, you motherfucker, dude. It's like, go ahead, call the police. They're on the way, motherfucker.
Leon, be more specific with your comments. I wish we knew what you were talking about, but I don't know.
It's like he's trying to communicate with us.
Yeah,
I do like it though. I do respect it.
I'm just not gonna read all this.
Leon.
Cryptic Levite #1. Look, these people are typing in all caps as well. Cryptic Levite, Fallen Angels, Nephilim. So
I like that. Who's that? What is that? Rumble?
No, this is just Google or actually Yahoo. I don't know why I'm searching on Yahoo. Interesting. I'll look into this. Yeah, I don't know why that popped up. Who is?
Maybe that's how we appease him.
Who's Oscar Davis, Leon?
Oh, who's Oscar Davis, Leon? Who is?
Call you on your own bullshit, Leon. You come out here shouting.
Maybe we found something cool. Who knows? Maybe he's shouting. I just don't want Herdsman 3, Old Key 3. Interesting. That's a thing you should type in. Herdsman 3, Old Key 3. Y'all are giving Leon far too much attention. Don't feed the retards. Now that's what this show is about, is feeding retards.
Yeah. We're going to start selling
doing so well.
I'm going to start selling little bags of corn with the Nephilim Death Squad logo, and it'll just be for like hand feeding retards through a gate. I'm going to have them here. They just graze in the land. And just every so often someone comes up and gives them corn. And I say, listen, when you do it, just make sure that you don't have your fingers straight out because they do bite. So you're going to want to give them the palm and get them right in the center there.
Colorless Caveman JB says, I can't see anything on the live chat. Open your eyes, Colorless. That's how you can't see things with your eyes closed. What does he mean? He can't see anything in the live chat. Anybody out there? Well, I can see you in a lineup of a bunch of other things. I don't know why you can't see anybody.
Oh, I see why. Yeah, so what's happening here is he's linked to maybe your live chat or he's watching Nephilim Death Squad. So yeah, we're fractionated right now on YouTube on 3 different spots. So we're on Nephilim Death Squad, we're on Tower Gang, and the Ravens Watch. And I could see 26 on NDS, 19 on Tower Gang, 8 on Ravens Watch. I would actually like all of you guys to go over to the Rumble chat and just talk to us on the Rumble chat, or at least the Nephilim Death Squad YouTube channel. And then we also have a couple of people watching on Twitter, which is cool. But yeah, we're slowly training wheels our way off of using Tower Gang and using other platforms, and just want to use Nephilim Death Squad, and then eventually just Nephilim Death Squad on Rumble and maybe even on Twitter. Those are the places we want to feed.
We mentioned it earlier. YouTube actually took down the last episode of Neph to America. So now you can only get it on Rumble because we showed a clip of Megan Fox. And so that's just some fucking big no-no. They ended up taking us down. So ideally what we'd like to see, if you guys do like the show, is these fucking numbers drop on mine. Get out of the Ravens Watch. Get out of wherever else you are, and start going to Rumble. Fuck YouTube, honestly, because we're not long for there. And
as
Rumble's
we say
gonna be
this,
our new home.
Yeah, and I do have some information. So right now, the StreamYard can't bring up Rumble chats. Like you can see that there's a YouTube, but I know that Rumble is working on some kind of technology to integrate that. So I hope to be able to pull you up in the future. But I do have you guys over here. It's Gravy saying, look at Rumble Top. Gravy, what's your Twitter? I'm seeing your stuff there. It's hard for me to pull it up on the screen quickly, especially in conversation, but I will see it. Something that we're working on, and something that maybe we could figure out together as a family, as a family / fan base. I'd like to figure this out.
As a death squad, as a future band of Nephilim hunting retards. Yeah,
You know
I
what
would
I
like to
just
figure
did?
this out together.
I just dragged just the Rumble chat over the YouTube chat on this main screen that I'm looking at, and I'm probably, I'm just going to pay attention to that because, we
Oh,
don't
that's
like
dope.
YouTube.
Is it lit? Do people like us in there?
It's
Don't
hard to
forget, guys.
tell. They're saying
I can
Merry
see people,
Christmas.
but I don't have the geez, they're retarded.
I know. Usually the Rumble chat is
Damn it.
so lacking. So it's like that's why I talk to for some reason, my favorite schizos and autists are all on YouTube, on the YouTube chat.
Agreed.
They don't
Where's
go to
Leon?
Rumble.
Leon should be happy that we've. I'm too worried about Leon. I just want to know that he's okay and that he appreciates the fact that we looked at whatever it was he was trying to say.
Leon probably broke his keyboard typing to us. Who knows where Leon's at right now?
Probably, yeah. It's all the
He needs some
yelling.
help.
He was doing quite a bit of yelling. But yeah, guys, go over there and hang out on Rumble because ultimately, when we crush inevitably and soon, we're gonna get that Rumble exclusive deal, and then we won't be streaming to YouTube anymore because YouTube hates us. And since it's an exclusive deal, we won't be streaming probably to Twitter, although I'm sure we'll still do Nef to America. That's our kind of like, wiggle out of it deal. It's like we'll still give something to the people, but Nephilim Death Squad they're gonna offer us like a bunch of money and this super lucrative contract, and we're gonna go, yeah, makes sense, and then we'll be Rumble exclusive, and that's what's coming down the pipe. I'm looking forward to that. I know you guys are looking forward to seeing your boys win, and so just start practicing that. Get over to Rumble, hang out there.
Yeah, Scott said he just made a Rumble for us. I mean, thank you, Scott. How much effort did it require? You just probably clicked. It said make an account. Click your Google name. You click that, and then you have an account, right? It's pretty easy. Yeah. The app is pretty good. The app will fucking tell you when we're going live. YouTube, maybe they will. Like sometimes they're like if they feel like it, but all the time Rumble tells you it's like this person's live, that person's live. So just follow us on there because
YouTube probably won't because we said Israel and retard like too many times during this episode. And
yeah,
so
we're talking about cattle mutilations, UFO abductions. They're like I think in 2024 there'll probably be a time where like the stuff we're talking about will be very censored. Rather than before it was like election, you can't say that kind of stuff. Now they're like, they're talking about the Nephilim, they're out. Because it's going to be like whatever real stuff is going on, they're going to have to go ahead and give you the pinch. I'm trying to start using this more.
Trying to make it a thing.
Yeah, I'm trying to make it a thing.
All right, I gotta fucking wrap this up. I could hear my kid fighting with the dog out there, and I also have to go pick up my wife soon. But it was cool, man. It was an awesome episode. I'm really glad we got to talk with L.A. Marzulli. I'm really glad that he's super pro. Is just
he's still the best though. Like I still had like the greatest time.
He's fucking awesome. He's really funny too.
God gives me the greatest
thing.
He gives me the greatest battles. The greatest battles is like you're gonna talk with your favorite person, but like that's okay.
Yeah, Leon was yelling about Gary Wayne, who does the Genesis 6 conspiracy, and we have Gary Wayne coming on. So Leon, this one's for you. You're gonna be really excited. Yeah, well, it was so far in advance that is this the correct one? I believe it is. Here, I can just search real quick. I just want to let you guys know. Oh, Genesis 6 conspiracy gmail.com. I already had it pulled up. Awesome. So Gary Wayne is the author of the Genesis 6 conspiracy, and he will be coming on Friday, February 16th at 3:30. Oh, there he goes. Pay attention after the podcast on YouTube comments. Whoa, dude, this is getting really cryptic, Leon. I kind of do like a good...
I don't read the comments, Leon. I don't read any... I mean, you guys are below me. I thought we've established this. I don't read comments. I might look at one. I might read halfway through it and answer what I thought you said, and it's going to be sarcastic. So I'm just letting you know now. I got things to do. We'll run through the schedule before we leave. Next week, we might have the Lore Lodge coming on. Next week, maybe.
Did they not confirm? It's been fucking... All right, yeah, Lore Lodge, maybe.
Yeah, possibly. The 11th. So that's the 2nd for Lore Lodge. That's a Tuesday.
Don't forget the 9th.
What's the 9th?
You forgot the 9th.
I forgot the 9th.
Oh, my God. The 9th is fucking conspiracy pilled.
Conspiracy pilled. Guys, this is live. We're doing it live. How do I spell conspiracy?
This is fucking figured. Conspiracy, dude. What? That's the fucking thing we do. Conspiracy Pilled is coming on
At 3:30.
the 9th at 3:30. Yes, and then fucking the big fish, dude. This is something that has been a goal of ours since the inception of Nephilim Death Squad. The big boy himself, Tony Merkel, is coming on the 11th. That's like a
It's
real
gonna be a
special one,
banger.
dude. I'm pumped for that. It is. It's going to be a banger. Coming on the 11th at 3:30. And then I'm sure we have other stuff that if we went through our emails and DMs, we'd be like, oh shit, we forgot to write that down.
We're
So
definitely
looking forward
gonna-
to those as well.
If you're scheduled with us and watching this, reach out. We don't remember. Like, we don't know what we're doing. So be like, hey, looking forward to talking to you. Whatever. Man, we got to get Owen Benjamin on one day. I see Optimistic Bear in the chat here.
Yeah, we do have to get Owen Benjamin on. We want to talk about the Star of Remfan with them. That's going to have to be a Rumble exclusive, though. And also, we're working on Lauren Witzke, who worked on the Died Suddenly docuseries, and we're going to be, or documentary, and we're going to be doing that. That's Rumble exclusive as well, because Died Suddenly is directly connected to the act scene. I think that's probably a good way to put it.
I think we have
that is.
We have another interview with those people with my God, I'm not remembering, with the dating site. I don't remember when. I don't. I have to,
shit. I forgot what the hell it is. It's a dating site for unaxed people, unacclimated
guys,
people.
we suck at this. You know what?
God damn.
Good night. We'll see you next week, maybe. See you later.
The greatest hypnotist on planet Earth is a oblong box in the corner of the room. It is constantly telling us what to believe is real. If you can persuade people that what they see with their eyes is what there is to see, you got them. Because they'll laugh in the face of an explanation that portrays the bigger picture of what's happening. And they have.